of propagating his ideas and spreading his message throughout all the colonies and uniting them together. So basically, I think at that point in time was the only structure which came together in the whole of US and which ultimately proved to be the combining force which resulted in Freemasonry. And since time is short, I will speak bits and pieces. Benjamin Franklin and Voltaire. Benjamin Franklin went to France and he joined the French Lodge. It was a very diplomatic move on his part. He joined a French lodge called the Lodge of Nine Sisters, and he motivated the lodge to welcome Voltaire, the great founding father of French Revolution, to join the lodge. See the strategic move. He joined the lodge. He got him invited to join the lodge, and the handshake. There are pictures of the handshake. I've got pictures with me between Voltaire and Benjamin Franklin, which resulted in the French Revolution and the freeing of the colonies. There is a long history after that. I will just quickly, I will skip back and I think this is something that some of us know about. The forget not pin that the German base, where anywhere in the world, a non-Masonic pin which symbolizes Freemasonry. Even in the Nazis' Second World War, when Masonry was ordained to be an illegal order by the German army and the Nazi government, at that point in time, the Masons decided to wear an innocent-looking pin, and the pin still, I've still got my pin with me. It's a very interesting pin which tells you that you are a Freemason and you have been World War, but have continued with the same zeal in Masonry as we now continue. There's a picture of trying to cripple the growth of Freemasonry in the past, but Masonry emerged out of it even stronger. One is propaganda due, something that happened in Italy in a Masonic lodge called propaganda due, which resulted in the collapse of the Bank Ambrosia, which was the bankers to the Vatican City, and the biggest bank one of the biggest banks in the world, and the collapse of the whole Italian economy. A small lodge resulting in that. The lodge was an illegal lodge. The lodge was disowned, continued to work, and the master of the lodge was Kelly, was expelled from Freemasonry, but he continued to use the Masonic lodge for his empire design. He constituted the lodge in 1895 when it became so powerful. Actually, it was a mafia working in the garb of a Masonic lodge in the world. He continued to gather support and power when he was raided in 1981. 900 names of the most powerful men in the world were found on the rolls of that lodge, and including lots of mafia, lots of prime ministers, so it was an illegal activity under the grab which gave a bad name to Masonry, but ultimately people came to know that this was a financial fraud, a major mafia scandal, a scam where Masonry was used as a grab. So which I think with this small note I will go. And finally, Morgan affair. In 1823, an American called William Morgan tried to threaten him. He was excommunicated from the lodge for bad behavior. He threatened the Masonry that he would be coming out with a ritual book explaining, dissecting the Masonry the way Richard has done in the past in England. And he came out with a book with much fanfare. And before the book would be published, he was murdered. And it was alleged that the Masons had murdered him. It was a long story. It took 30 years for the decision to take place. Ultimately, Masons were absolved and were given a clearing chain by the court and by the government. The book that he published actually became a source of great information for Freemasons in England, because he had really worked hard on the book, which was quite an accurate description of what Masonry of those days were. And though written by an anti-Mason, it spoke high about Freemasonry actually. Again, there is a book that would be reading in case you want to have a historical perspective of how Masonry would have developed. The pictured book was 1725, this was in 1823. So 100 years later, how Masonry would have evolved itself would be an interesting thing. And finally, a very humorous account of what another thing that happened to threaten the very existence of Freemasonry, the Taxil's revolution. Taxil was a Catholic, and he was a Freemason, and he joined a Catholic church at the point in time when the Catholic Church had, the Vatican Church had branded Freemasonry as an illegal order. And he joined, he said God had come to me and I got this revelation and he wants me to be a Catholic. And he joined back and he started publishing papers against Freemasonry. And people would look forward to these papers and books. The Taxon's book, this is one of the books that he published about Freemasonry, 5 lakh copies. When the Duke of Kent and Bismarck and Masons in America denied that Masonry is not the way it is being projected, the sale skyrocketed. 10 lakh copies ultimately was the last sale that he could make. He said that Masonry was a satanic order and he was, Masonry was being branded and that became a hero actually. And after that, revelation in this, including a sheep being butchered by an initiate during the ceremony of initiation, telling the initiate who is blindfolded that this sheep is a brother who has, who has betrayed him. It's all fancy. He started telling, and people started believing. Then he started to create a demon god also. A lady called Diana, and the confessions proved to be absolute anti-climax to what everybody had thought it to be. He said, I was writing a comedy, and the more I wrote, the more you started believing me. The more fancy I wrote, the more you started believing me to be true. I was writing the absolute fiction, no connection with reality, extreme. How can Saturn's daughter be living now and you started believing me? So he said, he at once said that he has nothing against Freemasonry. He was just making a joke because he had been fired from Freemasonry and had been excommunicated, and he had to be taken away in a shelter with the security around him. Ultimately, it became so difficult. The confession is a published document. The book that he wrote is also a published document. And again, those of you with further interest would perhaps think of reading to the new Masons here. Those who want to know about the prominent Freemasons. Again, this has been drawn which lists the names of prominent Freemasons, and it is inspiring. I would request to see how interesting it has been. Nawabs have been Freemasons, and justices have been Freemasons, and the founding fathers of our nation have been Freemasons, and all the luminaries that you could come across. Abruptly, because ran short of time to explain everything, but where Professor Sarojoti left, he talked about the weakness in the system. He talked about understanding. Why I wanted to give a historical lecture as the first lecture was because so that we know our heritage, we know what is inheriting. We have with us an institution which has got a history of so many years, and while others have died, others have ceased to exist, it continues to go stronger. It continues to exist because of the inherent strength that it has got. So it becomes a sense of responsibility for us in this present world where membership is actually declining the world over. I'm not talking about macro survival sector, but membership is declining the world over. Average age of Mason is increasing, and people are fussy about more of rituals with the lodge and less of interaction, and the less grammar that brings the lodge must understand this kind of historical background that they have with us, and it becomes more of a moral responsibility for us to carry forward the torch that has been given to us by our predecessors, so that in this troubled time, in this hostile world, the benefit that accrued to our predecessors accrued to us also, and to the future generation also. I think with this slightly abruptly, but I will finish it off here. And of course, if there are questions, we can answer. We can discuss them now also, or during the lunch. Thank you very much.
Brother and all, we are thankful so much for the kind of response we have got today by the August gathering which is here today to hear on faculty Dr. Tejinder Singh Rawal on the subject of Masonic fraternity. The session is open till the time this tea is being served. We can have a question answer session where any questions which comes to your mind, maybe which is beyond the subject which has covered also, we can definitely go ahead and discuss that. And give us another 10 minutes, the lunch is being served, so I would request our brethren to please.
Good men better. We are going to make good men better. Now what is good and what is bad? If you think that I am a smoker, I am a drinker, I cannot be a good man, that is your perception. With the beliefs and the upbringing that you have, that is your perspective. But a person who does not smoke and drink may be a bad man because of somebody else's perception. Now what is good and what is bad? What is right and what is wrong? We all have grown up in different environments, different surroundings, different traditions, different cultures. Now, that is where the Freemasonry comes into play. We are people from different societies, different backgrounds, different upbringings. When we come here, in an organized fashion, we are introduced to certain rituals which we are made to do so that it gets ingrained in your body, in your mind, and then you start thinking in a particular way, and that is supposed to benefit humanity. Not talking about caste, creed or religion. It just purely talks about humanity.
Thank you so much for being here. Please join us for lunch. Thank you.